One injury can set you back weeks or even months. But there are things we can do to help reduce that risk of injury. Coach Barrick here, Equity Podcast, giving you the tools to be fit for life. We're going to talk about the most common injuries we see in the gym. We're going to talk about the number one thing that leads to injury in the gym. And then we're going to talk about hey, how do we start structuring our training in the gym to help reduce that risk? First things first, the most common injuries we see in the gym. I put this into two buckets: lower back and the joints. Those are the biggest ones. The lower back, can come from a lot of different things. It can be from poor mechanics. It could be from having tight hip flexors or your back just doing more work than it should be. It's generally not because you have a weak back, but low back pain. And the other one is joints. Wrists, elbows, shoulders, knees, hips, ankles. That's the next biggest, just any of the joints. And we want to make sure that we're setting our joints up for success and not putting too much stress on them. So these injuries happen. And sometimes they happen because of lack of warm-up, lack of working on your functional range of motion, right? Mobility work, flexibility work, lifting too much too fast, too heavy too soon, ego lifting. And, we all are a little bit guilty of that at times to different extents. That doesn't mean you're trying to walk around the gym, be like, oh, I'm the big guy or big girl, lifting these weights, but just doing too much too fast can lead to not great results. Ignoring pain and pushing through pain. We really see this in tendonitis. Oh man, my elbow is really bothering me today. It doesn't hurt, but it's kind of annoying. I can still do the workout. And then they keep doing that for 2 weeks, and then it gets worse and worse and worse. So not ignoring that. And then finally, honestly, our everyday tasks is something else that's why injuries occur. The gym doesn't necessarily create these injuries, they expose them. That's not always the case, but a lot of the times there's something you're doing in your everyday life and the gym exposes that thing that you're doing. We'll get a little bit more into that in a little bit, but those are the main reasons that these injuries happen. However, the biggest issue, the one that causes the most in the gym, this is in the gym issue, is trying to do too much too fast. People get so excited or motivated or whatever it is, and they just try and do too much too fast. They're like, let's do this. You all know the person or yourself that started the new year and all right, I'm gonna get the 6-pack or whatever, and I'm gonna get my eating right, and I'm gonna eat a salad for every meal. And then they do that for 2.5 days, and then they crash. And they're eating worse than they were before. It's because it's not sustainable. They got too excited, and they tried to do too much too fast. The intensity in that nutrition, in that diet, was too high. They tried to change too much. When you do things that are not sustainable, they're not sustainable for a reason. If you're trying to go max intensity every day, something bad's going to happen. Trying to go from sitting on the couch 5 days a week to trying to do a full-blown marathon training probably is not going to go well. Too much, too fast, too heavy, too soon. That is the number one mistake in the gym that leads to something bad happen, to an injury. So what do we have to do? We need to slow down in terms of actually going faster, and also slow down in the amount of weight we're lifting. We need to slow those things down. Slow the progression down. Slow everything down. We need to think about the longer time horizon. Sustainability. Are we doing the things to make sure that we're doing this for a long period of time? We want this to be sustainable. Long time horizon. And then we want to be progressive in our intensity, right? We're going to start slow, and then we're just going to make it a little bit harder, and then make it a little bit harder, and then make it a little bit harder, and then pull it back, and go a little bit harder, go a little bit harder, go a little bit more, and then pull it back. And you keep progressively bringing it up. So you're going to go up and then down, up and then down, up and then down. And we're going to slowly make that progress. And that's what we want to do. Now, how do we reduce the risk of injury? What are the big things, right? We talked about this a little bit. Let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into this. What are the things that we can do to reduce our risk of injury? The first one is making sure we're warming up, right? If you do group class, you already do this. Maybe spending some more time and focusing a little bit more on it can be helpful. 5 to 10 minutes is plenty of time to warm up. That's all you need, right? Dynamic stretching, active movements, right? Not necessarily static stuff, but dynamic movements when we're moving around. And if you're short on time, say you're working out in the garage, doing the movements in the workout is a great way, right? So a great example, hey, I'm doing thrusters and I'm doing pull-ups. I'm going to start with just some air thrusters. No weight, just using my hands. And then I'll hang from the bar, do some scat pull-ups. Then I'll come back and I'll just do the bar, do some thrusters, do a set, put it down, shake it out, do another set, go back to the bar, maybe hit some kips, kind of open those shoulders up, go back to the bar, put a light weight on, go back to the pull-up, start working on my pull-ups, just keep going back and forth and slowly getting more warm, adding more intensity over time, right? And then we can hop right into that workout, right? 10 minutes to do that, a little break, 10 minutes for the workout. It's 25 minutes right there. So even in a short amount of time, you can make sure you get that workout, that stretching, that warm up in there. The next one is working towards better, right? We talked about slowing down, working towards better. Mechanics, consistency, then intensity, right? We need the first two first. We need the mechanics, then we need those mechanics consistently, then we can start upping the intensity. And intensity is relative. That doesn't mean max. It means just bringing it up a little bit. If you can't squat without pain or compensating in some way, adding weight is probably not a good idea. Tempo and cadence is a great tool for building mechanics. Slow down and help build those good mechanics. Working on that cadence, going a little bit slower. Instead of doing air squats and just hammering them, slowing those air squats down, all right? We want to make sure that we're being mindful of how fast we're doing those things and making sure that we're moving well. We want to be coachable, right? If you're taking a group class or personal training, we want to make sure that we're being coachable and we're taking that feedback and using it. We want to make sure that we're doing that. And on top of that, you also need to have that external coach, that other person, but also being your own coach as well, right? Be self-coaching. Look at your movement, feel your movement. What are you doing? Feel your body, know your body, and learn from yourself as well. Then, kind of similar, we want to progress gradually, right? We want to make sure we slow down. We want to make sure we focus on those mechanics, and we just don't want to jump up. My mechanics are great at 65 pounds. I'm going to jump to 225, right? We want to slowly build up, just how we talked about. Up, take a step back. Up, take a step back. And keep doing it. Progressive overload. If your form starts breaking down, you're probably going too heavy, right? And especially if we have this long term, that max weight, that heavier weight, that PR doesn't matter. What we want to do is we want to be around for a long period of time. We want to keep doing this so that we can kick ass in our 90s. So we can do all the things we want to do as we age. So we can keep working out. So we can play with the kids and do that. Having a back injury isn't fun. Laying on the couch for a week isn't fun. Finally, we want to make sure that we're prioritizing our recovery. We want to make sure we're getting enough sleep. We want to make sure that while we're watching TV with our kids, we're doing some stretching on the floor. We're getting some mobility work. We're listening to our body. Oh man, I'm just feeling extra sore today. When I go to the gym today, I'm just gonna take it a little bit easier. Ooh, I think I really need a rest day today. I didn't get a lot of sleep, so I'm really gonna pull it back. Making sure we're understanding our body. That doesn't mean don't try hard. We wanna try hard. We wanna make sure that we're recovering as well. And then the last thing is thinking about, again, what are we doing in our everyday life that may be causing an issue? If I'm constantly having back tightness, why am I feeling that? Is there something that I'm doing all day? Am I sitting all day and that's messing with my back? Find out what those things are. All right, let's recap. We want to make sure that we're mindful of our lower back and our joints. Those are the biggest, most common areas where we see injuries. We want to make sure to avoid the biggest mistake, doing too much, too fast. We want to slow that down. And then to reduce that risk, we're going to make sure we warm up. We're going to focus on mechanics. We're going to slow down and focus on progression over time. And we're going to make sure we're recovering. And we're going to be mindful of what we're doing throughout our day. This is how we help reduce the risk of injury. Mechanics, consistency, then intensity. And that's relative intensity. If you have that buddy that is worried about getting hurt in the gym, they're like, oh, I can't work out because, I have this issue or that issue, you know that having the strength and using those muscles and those joints are how we help prevent injury. By not doing it, that is more risky. By not working out, by not improving, by not getting stronger, that is the more risky thing because you're guaranteed to have issues eventually. When we're working out, if we do that and follow all these things that we just talked about, we're going to be better and we're going to be more injury resistant. We're going to be anti-fragile. So if you think this might help somebody, please share it with them. We want more happy, healthy people in the world. Thank you guys. Cheers.